Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper. It's good having you with us. The National Security Minister says there's no victimization, but the head of the Christian Council doesn't see it that way. In this report, our BJ McDermott takes a look at what that body makes of the retirement of 3 top police officers and why they'll be closely watching the situation.
Bahamas Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez calling it suspicious. That is, the instructions reportedly sent down from the office of the Prime Minister for 3 of the police force's top brass to take vacation and then retire. National Security Minister Marvin Deem says there's nothing political about it. Well, Bishop Fernandez says he has to take the minister's word, but stressed that the council is watching.
From what the minister has said, it doesn't give the evidence because they are up for retirement. But like I said, if someone has 3 more years to go, this is pre-retirement that you're doing this. And so it surely has some suspicious activity around it. We are watching. But we must accept what the minister said, that there's no political interference.
The Christian Council president added that the government should not have its hands in the RBPF and that there must come a day when the Commissioner of Police is in charge of his army.
If we're going to manipulate the hierarchy of the police force to a place that they are political pundits, we're going to always be in the state we're in where people will be afraid to offer themselves to work, and some of the best minds rising to the top to do the job that we need them to do in our country.
The 3 officers expected to leave the force are Deputy Commissioner of Police Emmerich Seymour, Senior Assistant Commissioner Stephen Dean, and Assistant Commissioner Clarence Reckley, husband of former Deputy Director of Urban Renewal Michelle Reckley, who along with 3 others was last month charged with 21 counts of fraud.
It's concerning that you would do this during Police Month. One of the officers being let go is in charge of Police Month. So it tells me that this was not prepared, this was not planned. And if it was planned, it's really insensitive that you would let these 3 go during a time of celebration of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Bishop Fernandez is convinced the country is moving in the wrong direction, adding that if it maintains the image of political interference, then people will begin to think there is manipulation in every sector of society. Reporting for JCN News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
It's the second case in less than a week. Police looking into another alleged child abduction here in the capital. Authorities have revealed that the child was taken from a park on Emmanuel Drive off Soldier Road before 7 p.m. Wednesday by a female, the lone occupant of a gray vehicle. Police tell us the child was reportedly dropped off on Tonic Williams-Darling Highway near the entrance of the city dump a short time later. Now, according to police, the child had no physical injuries. However, he was taken to hospital to be examined by a doctor. He's said to be in good health. A wanted bulletin has, however, been issued for a suspect shown wearing sunglasses and a satin cap. Apart from that, nothing is known about the accused, as there is no details on the name, age, address, complexion, height, or build. Just this past Sunday, an 8-year-old girl was abducted by a man from her Culmersville home. She was found a short time later in the area of Woodlawn Gardens, Soldier Road. While police say otherwise, the child's mother claims she was sexually assaulted. Meantime, the call for the government to swiftly enforce the Marco Alert System, Marco's Law, and create a sexual offender register is growing. The opposition has said it, and so has the Democratic National Alliance, as well as outspoken Baptist clergyman Reverend Simeon Hall. And now there's Rice Bahamas Vice Chairman Joseph Darville, who believes the heartbreaking consequence of a continued failure to act to protect the country's children is evident in the awful headlines marring the front pages on an alarming regular basis. Mr. Darville contends that at the very least, the public be given a timeline for the enactment of all initiatives. While pressured to act, the government was applauded for extending the scope of Marco's Alert from traditional media to a web-based platform. This while the former administration was scolded for not doing more to implement these efforts. Mr. Darville advised the minister-led government to learn from the mistakes and move swiftly to protect the most innocent. House Speaker Houston Moultrie coming under fire following his refusal yesterday to allow the opposition the opportunity to table a notice opposing the mid-year budget statement. opposition MPs were really hoping to get the green light to open debate on the statement as presented in the House of Assembly last Wednesday. Not taking too kindly to this, the PLP in a statement branded the Speaker's action as high-handed, inappropriate, and yet another example of how he does not recognize his role as an arbiter and not to be in the fray of the debate. And according to Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis, rather than engage in the charade being played in the House of the matter, he and his colleagues left with the plan to return afresh on the adjourned date. Meantime, a short-lived debate on the investment fund bill ended yesterday with the proposed legislation being passed in the lower chamber. The updated legislation is intended to bring the law into harmony with international standards and practices, expand the scope of the Securities Commission's power, and protect investors as well as the reputation of the Bahamas. Before its passing, opposition deputy leader and the party's point man on finances, Chester Cooper, said he's happy to see the legislation being updated in an attempt to stay on the cutting edge and in step with international best practices. The bill, he said, is good for those who work in the industry, and the PLP has pledged to support common sense legislation. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.